Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News and welcome to the post-match live analysis where we analyze Barcelona matches after they end. Today, we are discussing the Barcelona match against Osasuna, where Barcelona won 2-0 at home at the Spotify Camp Nou with a double from Coutinho. Now, this was the final home match of this year. I almost said of the season, but of this 2025 calendar year, because we do have two matches left. One in the Copa del Rey against Guadalajara, which is an away match, and another one in La Liga against Villarreal, which is also an away match and will be a difficult match because right now Villarreal are sitting in third. Now, this was an incredibly important victory. Why? Because, of course, not only we're at the top of La Liga table and we need to maintain our position at the top of La Liga table, but also this was a good opportunity to, of course, extend our lead over Real Madrid, because this is how the table is currently looking like. Let me share that with you. There we go. Barcelona are sitting at the top of the table with 43 points. Real Madrid in second with 36. So Barcelona right now 7 points ahead of the Madrid-based club. But of course, Real Madrid do have a match they are set to play tomorrow against Alaves. Now, statistically speaking, I don't have much faith in Alaves. They are sitting all the way down here in 11th place. Their last 5 matches, they've lost 3 and won 2. But Real Madrid do have a lot of missing players due to injury or suspension. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, Madrid will drop points tomorrow, and that way we can continue building on our lead. Now, Villarreal are right there breathing down on Real Madrid's neck. Only 1 point difference. Don't forget, Villarreal have one less match. Villarreal have 15 matches. Madrid have 16. So again, if Real Madrid drop points tomorrow, Barcelona will be able to extend our lead. And finally, Villarreal could jump to second place with one less match. So this is why today was a very important victory, because not only we need to keep our spot, but also we need to keep our pressure on Real Madrid, because what's the best thing to do to a team that's losing and that they are seeing us pulling away further and further is to continue doing that and continue to pull away further and further, because the moment Barcelona drop points, that could always give hopes to Real Madrid and could, motivate them to start playing better. So this is why it's important to keep pressure on them by continuing to win in our matches and not dropping points. Plus, as I said today during a watch along, teams like Madrid or Barcelona, big teams with all the resources they have, the money, the players, etc., they eventually always revert situations, right? If they're going through a bad situation, they're always able to revert it back to and get back on course. So we don't know when Real Madrid will revert this situation. Maybe they won't all season. Maybe it's going to take them in the summer transfer market. Or maybe they will. Maybe it's next month. Maybe the month after. So we don't know when Madrid is going to revert the situation. So this is why it's important to take advantage of this and build as big of a lead as possible. That way, if Madrid do end up reverting the situation, hopefully by then it will be too late and the point difference will be too big and Barcelona can end up winning La Liga. So very important victory, very important 3 points. And I have to say, I actually liked Barcelona's match today. Now, I know a lot of people are going to disagree. There's a lot of people in the comment section during the watch-along saying not enjoying how Barcelona were playing. But here's why I really liked Barcelona's performance, because they continued to try the entire time. Now, Barcelona, the entire match played with intensity, with hunger to win, and they kept trying and trying and trying and trying and trying every single minute of the match until finally the goal came from Raphinha, and then the second goal came from Raphinha as well. And this is why I like. Now, yes, there was some times where the match was boring, but this was not because Barcelona were not trying. This was not due to lack of intensity. This was not because due to a lack of ideas. This was simply for the fact that Osasuna started the match with a line of 5 defenders and 4 midfielders and only 1 attacker. And the entire time they were defending with all 5 defenders and all 4 midfielders. So they had 9 people in the box for most of the match. If you add the goalkeeper, you're talking about 10 people in the box defending. They pretty much arrived at the Camp Nou with one idea and one idea only, which is to park the bus. leaving only Budimir up front, sometimes Victor Munoz up front with Budimir dropping to defend. But the whole match, they pretty much had 10 people in the box defending. So when you have a team that from the first second, they are just parking the bus and that's all they're doing, of course, the match is going to get a little bit difficult. Of course, the match sometimes is going to get a little bit boring. But again, this was not due to lack of intensity or ideas on part of Barcelona. It was the opposite. In fact, Barcelona, not at once did they lose their calm. Not at once did they get nervous. Instead, they continued playing. They continued trying and trying. They continued knocking and knocking and knocking until eventually the door opened and the 2 goals came by Raphinha. And this is why I really liked Barcelona's match, aside from the fact that this was a very important victory to maintain the leadership of La Liga table and to maintain the pressure on Real Madrid. Now, let's talk about the lineup. As usual, I like to talk about the lineup and then the general sensations of the team and finally individual players. But let's start with the lineup because today Hansi Flick, he kind of switched things up. Now, this is how Barcelona lined up against Osasuna. Of course, Juan Garcia in goal. Balde and Jules Koundé as our 2 fullbacks. Pau Cubarsí and Gerard Martin as our 2 center backs. I think it looks like Hansi Flick has chosen his starting center backs. It looks like it's going to be Pau Cubarsí and Gerard Martin, which is crazy. If you would have told me last season or the one before that having Araujo and having Christensen, that it would be Gerard Martin starting ahead of them as our starting center back, I would tell you, you are crazy. But here we are. Gerard Martin, by far the most improved player of the squad. I think he was the most improved player last season. Today, this season, also the most improved player of the squad. Gerard Martin just continues to get better and better and better with every single match, every single week, every single month, all of last season and this season as well. Now, we'll talk about Gerard Martin a little bit more in a little bit once I'm done with the lineup. But then we have our double pivot, Pedri and Eric Garcia. Another change for the starting lineup for Flick, because for the longest time since Flick arrived, it was Pedri Frankie. It was always Pedri Frankie. But it looks like Eddie Garcia has taken Frankie de Jong's spot away, which is pretty crazy to think about because Eddie Garcia is not even a midfielder. And yet he has taken the spot of a midfielder that we've paid a lot of money for, not just in transfer fee, but in salaries, in bonuses, in variables, you name it. And we just renewed his contract, and yet he has lost his spot to a player who doesn't even play in that position, who doesn't even specialize in that position. But I'm the crazy one when I say, why the hell did we renew Frankie de Jong? Now, the changes also came in the attacking lineup because we saw Lamine Yamal is always playing on the right, so that's not the change. But we saw Rashford on the left with Coutinho taking the attacking midfield position as kind of like our number 10. And, of course, Ferran Torres as our center forward. So this was the lineup that Hansi Flick chose. Now let's move on to the general sensation of the team. I think the first half was pretty boring, I think, to me, because again, this wasn't lack of intensity, of lack of ideas or strategies. I think the team played well. But of course, when you have an Osasuna who they only arrived at the Camp Nou with one idea and one idea only, which was to park the bus, it was very difficult to find open spaces. But nonetheless, the team continued trying and trying. I think the team a little bit abused a little bit the crosses. I saw we saw Rashford throwing a lot of crosses into the box, and that doesn't usually work. That hardly ever works when you're talking about a team that's parking the bus, because when you have 9, 10 defenders all sitting in the box, it's a very small area. It's very easy to clear those crosses. So I think we abused the crosses a little bit during the first half. I think we should have tried more first touch quick passes, which I know it's easier said than done, because when you don't have any space, when you have, again, 10 Osasuna players in the box, it's also very difficult to achieve. But I think we should have tried that a little bit more than the crosses. And then we did see some shots from outside the box, and I like that. I think Flick is starting to implement that more, because Barcelona is usually, overall, is not a team that tries shots from outside the box, and that's been all throughout the 21st century, right? But we saw several shots from outside the box. We saw Pedri try one. We saw Eric Garcia try one. I think Pau Cubarsí tried one, if I'm not mistaken. Rashford, I think, tried one as well. So we're seeing more shots outside the box, and that, of course, is important, especially when you play against a team that's parking the bus, because when you start shooting from outside the box, it forces the opposing team to advance their lines to start blocking those shots from outside the box, of course, leaving space in the back for your other players to take advantage. So the first half, pretty much it went without much action. Of course, Barcelona did score a goal, a beautiful goal from the corner kick, where Barcelona plays it short. Raphinha passes it to Lamine. Lamine back to Raphinha. Then a few seconds pass by. Lamine has it, puts in a beautiful pass, splits two Osasuna defenders, puts the pass in between them to Raphinha, who receives it inside the box by himself. He starts crossing the box horizontally, looking for space to get that shot out. He can't find the space, passes it to Rashford. Rashford puts in a beautiful cross into the box, floats it in the air. Ferran Torres is there to head it in. Ferran was actually onside. It ends up being, it was Raphinha who was offside when they did the short passing. When Raphinha gives it to Lamine, Lamine gives it back to Raphinha. His heel was offside, which was a little bit strange, but nonetheless, according to the rules, it is a legal offside. But the first half ends 0-0. Second half, the team comes out. I thought the team started the second half. It was a great start. We're used to seeing Barcelona start the halves asleep. Not at all. Barcelona came out with more intensity, with more hunger to score the goal. And they continued knocking. And then eventually came Coutinho's goal from a beautiful play by Pedri, who gets the ball, has a defender on him. He does what we've gotten used to now, his spin. He spins around, gets rid of his mark, takes a few steps forward, puts in a beautiful pass to Raphinha. Raphinha stops the ball with his right foot, cuts a little bit to the left, and that creates enough space for him to get the shot out. And then, of course, that's Barcelona 1, Osasuna 0. And then the second goal, it was a cross. Was it Kunde? I think he puts the cross. Yeah, Kunde puts the cross, and Osasuna defender tries to clear it, ended up passing it to Raphinha, and then Raphinha pushes it in. I saw some people on social media saying that's an offside. My God, if you're going to watch a sport, you should at least understand its rules. I think that's common sense, right? Was Raphinha in an offside position? Yes, but it's not an offside because the ball is coming from the opposing team. It's the Osasuna defender that tries to clear the ball, kicks the ball, and it's a bad clearance because the ball lands to Raphinha. So when it's the opposing team passing you the ball, it's not an offside. It's a pretty old rule. This is not something they changed this season. There's no reason for why some idiots on social media should not know this. So it was not an offside. It was a legit goal, and Barcelona end 2-0. Now let's talk about individual players, because I do like to end up post-match analysis with talking about individual players. Gerard Martin. We have to talk about Gerard Martin because Gerard Martin today, to me, was the MVP. Obviously, the MVP was given to Raphinha, if I'm not mistaken. 2 goals. Of course, he would get it. But to me, the MVP was Gerard Martin. Gerard Martin was absolutely spectacular as a center back. There was several counterattacks by Osasuna where they put it's your typical play by a team that's parking the bus. They have all the players in the back. They send a long ball to their attacker, whether it be Victor Munoz or what's his name? I'm blanking on his name. Budimir. And there were several of those plays, and most of them were intercepted by Gerard Martin. So defensively speaking, he was top-notch. But then here is where Gerard Martin even takes the cake from me, and it's his passing. Gerard Martin's passing has improved so much. Last season, he kept improving defensively. He kept getting better and better defensively. But then I was like, his passing sucks. He can't really build from the back. He can't distribute the ball because that's not his profile, right? He's a left back. He's a defensive left back. He's always been a defensive left back. So his passing is not really something that he's learned. His defense kept improving, but his passing was always horrendous. This season, my goodness, his defense is still improving, and now his passing is improving. So now he's becoming a complete defender, a complete Barcelona defender, someone that not only can defend, but someone that can build from the back. And today we saw Gerard Martin attempting those forward passes, diagonal passes. He was doing it all, and I think 9 out of 10 of his passes were all accurate. I saw him miss once. Gerard Martin was just absolutely spectacular for me today. What a guy. To think that 2 years ago, this guy was playing at Cornellà, I don't think that even counts as professional football. And now he is starting as a center back for FC Barcelona. Absolutely amazing. This is a guy who put his head down, worked, and now he's reaping the rewards of his hard work by earning a starting spot on a team as a left center back. Alejandro Balde, I really liked him in the attack. I thought he had a good game, maybe because defensively speaking, he didn't really have to do much. Barcelona were defending with Gerard Martin and Pau Cubarsí, who both did a good job. So I think that's why Balde shined today, because Balde, we know offensively, he's really good. Defensively, that's when he really gets exposed. Since he really didn't have to defend much, I guess he had a good game today. He did have one good defensive action where it was a long pass to Victor Munoz, who, my God, that guy is so fast. And Alejandro Balde was on him, did not commit the foul, stayed on him enough to make him uncomfortable and throw him off balance to where when Victor Munoz took the shot, it went wide. I think if he would have committed the foul, obviously that would have been a red card. Had he not stayed on him, Victor Munoz would have been a lot more accurate with his shot, and that could have been the 1-1. So good job on that action with Balde. Kunde, same thing. Participated a lot in the attack. Didn't do much in the defense. Maybe that's why he shined today as well. But good match by Kunde and Balde. Balde, by the way, starting to build chemistry with Marcus Rashford. I really like how they kept combining together and kept alternating. I really like that. Kunde did the same with Lamine, but we all know that Kunde already knows how to do that with Lamine. We hadn't seen that from Balde and Rashford. Today, we saw it. Eric Garcia, again, another good match in a defensive midfield right next to Pedri. Giving Pedri more freedom, because Eric Garcia stays back holding the midfield, and Pedri has that freedom to go forward. Who, by the way, another masterclass by Pedri. I mean, I don't even think we need to talk about Pedri anymore. It's kind of like every match is just assume he did amazing, because this guy is just an absolute genius. The best midfielder in the world by far. I can't believe people were actually dare to compare Pedri to Jude Bellingham. Like, what? Seriously, you want to compare Pedri to Jude Bellingham? I mean, just watch 5 minutes of Pedri. You don't even have to watch a full match. Just watch 5 minutes of Pedri and then go watch a full match of Bellingham and see how Pedri does better in 5 minutes than Bellingham in entire 90 minutes. But Pedri, again, phenomenal. And then with that freedom that Eddie Garcia gives him by staying back, I think enough said. There's not much more to say. Raphinha had a weird match today. First half, in that 10, wasn't that good. I think his passes were not accurate. His shots were not accurate. He was struggling a little bit in the attacking mid, even though he has played in that position before. He wasn't as lethal as he was when he plays in the left wing. But nonetheless, second half, he gave us 2 goals. I mean, what are we going to complain about? Oh, no, you scored 2 goals. There's nothing to say, right? There's absolutely nothing to say. Rashford, we saw him participating more during the first half. He had some really good runs at the beginning of the first half, but then after that, he just kept trying to send cross after cross after cross. And again, when you're playing against a team that has 10 guys in the box, crosses are just not going to cut it. I think Rashford should have kept trying to run into the box like he did at the beginning of the first half. I think that would have been a lot more effective than just trying cross after cross. Lamine today, he had 3 guys on him the entire time. He would have 2 guys and then 1 floater the entire time. And he still was getting past sometimes 2 defenders at once. I mean, Lamine Yamal today with his dribbling was absolutely phenomenal. And then Ferran Torres, not a bad match, not a good match either, but that's not his fault. It's not because he wasn't trying. He was. It's because Osasuna had him completely walled off. Osasuna, again, they had 10 people in the box. So it's very difficult for someone playing in a center forward position to do much when you are seriously surrounded by like a million people around you. So Ferran Torres today, not as effective, but again, not his fault. It's just how the match played off. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. Again, very important victory, very important 3 points. I liked Barcelona's match. They played with intensity the entire match. They kept trying the entire match. Not once did they give up. Not once did they, seem like they weren't trying or that they were lacking ideas. At times boring, but that's what it is. That's how it is when you play against teams that park the bus. It just gets boring. But this was not due to lack of ideas or lack of trying. This was simply Osasuna just being a boring team. But great victory, 7 points, clear at the top. We'll see what Madrid do tomorrow. Let's do some comments, and then we'll end the live stream because I do have to go have breakfast. Believe it or not, it's 5 p.m. and I have not had breakfast. I did the, the MoCast, followed by the watch along. Now this live analysis, and then I'm doing videos later. So it's going to be a busy day, but that's okay because I love doing this. All right, let's see. Wait, here we go. Let's go here. Ivan says, making my first live. Welcome, Ivan. Hopefully you can make more lives. Hopefully. Boca Moso Mabele says, I don't like Raphinha in number 10. I didn't like him today in a number 10. I don't want to say in general. Today in the first half, he really struggled. But again, he scored 2 goals, so I'm not going to here talk about how bad Raphinha was or how not good it was. I mean, he scored 2 goals. Thank you. That's all I'm going to say. Akum Lung says, Barca could have scored more, but both our strikers are too inconsistent, and that's why we can't finish our chances. I don't know if it was a matter of Ferran Torres being inconsistent. I mean, he did have some good chances that he did waste, but that's Ferran. I mean, Ferran needs like 10 chances to score 1. But I wouldn't blame it on him again. It's just Osasuna were just had us completely cornered. Well, not cornered. We had them cornered, but they were like just completely flooding their box. And we do have a donation. Sanjog, who says we need to learn how to open up low blocks. Every team knows that's the way to play against us. In the first half, they had more shots on target than us. I don't think that's true. I think they had 2. I remember during the halftime, I think Barcelona had 13 shots, 3 on target. Sorry, 30 shots total, yeah, 3 on target. And Osasuna had 2 shots, both of them on target. So I don't think that's true that they had more shots than us. But I do agree that, yes, we need to work more on open up low box. I mean, it's obviously easier said than done. When you have the entire team in the box, it's hard. But we need to have more like drawn up plays, more triangulation for fast first touch passes, the kind of thing, kind of like what the tiki-taka era of Barca used to do, right? It's like pop, 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 just move the ball really quickly. That's what we need to work more into our routines, and I think that will help against low block teams. And plus, with Lamin's dribbling, that can definitely help today. Let's see. But thank you for your donation, my friend. Let me see. Where did we leave off? Rodrigo says, hello, Mo. I'm back on the live. I was listening to the game while at the gym. Visca Barça, hopefully Real Madrid drop more points. Visca Barça, my friend. And yes, hopefully tomorrow Madrid drop points. But at the same time, it's kind of like if they lose tomorrow, most likely Xabi Alonso will get sacked. So it's kind of like I want him to drop points, but at the same time, I want Xabi Alonso to stay. It's a difficult decision. But let me know, by the way. I'm curious. Let me know in the chat section or in the comment section if you're watching this once it ended. What do you prefer? Do you prefer Madrid to lose tomorrow, and that way we are clear 7 points, but they replace coach? Or do you rather them maybe win, and that way Xabi Alonso can stay? Because as we can see, Xabi Alonso has lost complete control of the locker room. So let me know what you prefer. It's a difficult one. Java the Hut says, Frankie was holding his team back. They play much better without him. The midfield is more fluid. Definitely, he does hold the ball a lot. Sometimes he does slow down the play by him holding the ball. But yeah, man, it looks like it's going to be Pedri and Eric, which is good, by the way, because competition only improves players. I mean, who knows? Maybe with Eric taking Frankie's spot, Frankie's going to be like, oh, man, I need to earn my spot back. He kicks it up a notch, and now we have 2 great players for the same position, right? That's good. It's good. Herbert says, Pedri always delivers. Yes, he does, my friend. The only time Pedri has not delivered is when he wasn't playing because he was injured or whatever it might be. Let's see. Armando says, I think what gives Eric the edge over Frankie is that Eric is not as good with the ball at his feet like Frankie, but that is what makes Eric thrive with passing the ball quicker. That's an interesting point. Maybe Eric does want to get rid of it quicker because, yeah, Frankie's good dribbling the ball. Like, Frankie can make those runs forward with the ball at his feet, which we've never seen Eric do. So maybe you're right. Maybe it is what makes Eric more effective because when he gets the ball, he knows, oh, I'm not just going to run with it because I'm going to lose it. So he tries to get rid of it quickly. Or maybe it's just his training as a Barca player, right? Eric came up through the academy, and as academy player, you learn to get rid of the ball quickly. But that's a good point. Night Game says 7 points clear in La Liga. 7 wins in a row. We have now equalized Ernesto Valverde's record with Barcelona scoring in 37 consecutive matches. Wow, interesting. I did not know that. Thank you, my friend, for that stat. And Alexis says, I think Lamine needed to get his head up more this match. He held up on the ball for too long most of the time. Lost possession 33 times. He has great vision. He needs to use it. Yeah. But at the same time, the reason also why Lamine was losing it, obviously he was losing it because he was holding on to it for too long. But the reason also why he was holding on to it much longer than he needed is because a lot of times there wasn't just any space opened to pass. And that's because, again, Osasuna had freaking 10 players in the box. So I think that played a role in it. But it also has to do, of course, with Lamine's inexperience. With time, Lamine will learn when to be selfish and when not, right? Because you want these kind of players to be selfish, like Lamine, Messi, because by being selfish is how they're able to dribble past 2, 3 players and open up space, right? You want it to be selfish, but you also got to know when to let go. And that only comes through it with experience, right? That only comes by playing more and more and more. And as Lamine continues to grow, mature, and gain more experience, he'll eventually learn to make better decisions on when do I need to be selfish and when not, right? Because he can afford to be selfish. Some players, they can never, ever be selfish, right? Ferran, for example, he can never, ever be selfish. He's not a player that can dribble. Raphinha, he's not really a player that can dribble past 2, 3 defense. So some players, they can never, ever be selfish. Lamine can be. He just needs to learn when he needs to stop, right? And that only comes with experience. Sanjog says, another donation from Sanjog. Thank you so much, my friend, for your generosity. But Sanjog says, also, did you notice how much Eddie Garcia has improved this season? This season, he's incredibly fast. He's chasing down fast players this season. Yeah, I've noticed that too. I don't know if he was always fast and he just wasn't using his speed, or did he do some exercises and became more explosive? I don't know what it is, but I have noticed, yeah, Eddie Garcia has been much better this season chasing down defenders. You are right. That's a good point to point out. And again, thank you, my friend, for your second donation. Very generous of you. And McBarca says, I wish clubs like PSG and City go full haram against us in Champions League, because it scares me seeing us getting dominated when we're not used to playing high-pressing, dominating teams. Well, also context is important, right? Because when we played PSG, we really were doing bad. Like the team was doing really, really bad. Now the team is slowly getting better and better and better, and we're regaining our dynamic. We're regaining our teamwork and our team play. So I think if we were to face PSG again tomorrow, I think it would be a different. I don't know if that result will be different, but I think we would look much different than what we looked like when we played them. Because when we played them, oh my God, it was like, please turn the TV off. I don't want to see anymore. But anyways, last one. BMWC Gaming says, not a team-related comment, but just wanted to say I appreciate all your content. Thanks for all your hard work, bro. No, thank you, my friend, and thank all of you who are watching and always supporting the channel. Again, I do this for you guys. If it wasn't for you, I'll be a crazy guy screaming at his camera. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Your comments, your likes, your subscriptions, your donations. If you haven't hit the like button yet, make sure you do. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do. And if you haven't commented yet, make sure you do. I want to know your thoughts and opinions about today's match. Again, thank you guys for everything, for tuning in. I will see you guys in a news video. And as always, Viscarsa.